Yo, what is going on, everyone? It's Wraith here, back with another video. And I know I haven't uploaded in almost 2 weeks now, and just the reason for that is I have been working quite a bit recently, so I haven't had as much time, and also I haven't been enjoying Fortnite as much this season, so I kind of took a little week and a half break, and now I'm getting back into it. I'm loving it again. It's just a little bit at the start with the map and getting used to charge shotguns and all that kind of wasn't for me, but I'm slowly getting back into it, so I decided to come back with an absolute banger for today's video, and it's basically going to be talking about how to practice and actually get better and improve at the game, because so many of you guys, I see it all the time in the comments. You guys Discord message me, Twitter message me, all that kind of stuff about how no matter how much time you put in and how much time you play, you're not getting better. So in today's video, I will be helping you guys and showing you how to get better, guaranteed. So if you're looking forward to this video, make sure you slap a like button on it, comment what you want to see for a future video, hit that subscribe button, use creator code WraithFN in the item shop, and let's get into it. So now my first tip, and this is a big one that a lot of people don't end up doing, and it's work in all areas of the game. Like, practice all areas of the game. So many people will just play, like, let's say you have 8 hours to play. Like, that's quite a bit of time in a day, and people will be playing creative for an hour and then play scrims for the rest of the day, right? Or they'll play creative for an hour or Kovacs for 45 minutes, creative for 10 minutes, and then they'll basically W key for the rest of the time, right? Which is, yes, you're going to get better and you're slowly going to improve because you are playing the game, you're focusing on small things, but what you really need to be doing is you need to be practicing a wide variety of things. So for example, you can't just play Kovacs 8 hours a day or aiming maps in game and expect to become the best player in the world. You can't just do edit courses over and over again, or you can't just play scrims over and over again, or just W key arena, right? It's kind of a mix of everything. You need to have an ample amount of time played in scrims so you can work on your end game or zone wars or something like that. You have to be working in creative to help your mechanics, help just your like actual box fighting, your 1v1 fighting. You need to be working on your aim through Kovacs or aim courses. Yes, you need to be working on your editing course, or editing through editing courses, all that kind of stuff, right? So it's very, very important to make sure that even if no matter how much time you have, even if you have 1 hour a day, 2 hours a day, you're not doing the same thing over and over, right? VOD reviewing. So many people I know don't do VOD reviewing, whether it's VOD reviewing pro players, people who play like your style, or even yourself, right? It's so important to make sure that you're doing all areas of the game, because if you're just doing like just Kovacs for an hour and then hop into scrims the rest of the day, you're not going to get better as much as someone who's been doing VOD reviewing for 20 minutes, Kovacs for 20 minutes, creative for 20 minutes, arena for an hour, and then customs for an hour, right? So make sure you're doing everything, not just one or two things. So now my next tip is finding people to play with who are better than you or just as good as you. Now this is a big thing in my opinion, and a lot of people don't really recognize how important it is to have a grinding friend group, and people actually have been talking about this on Twitter recently. Like, basically there's a conversation about, does genetics kind of matter in esports and in Fortnite, and then the topic came up and a lot of people are just saying, as long as you have a good friend group and a hard friend group who likes to grind and you are actually putting the time, you can get pro. Now I'm not saying I disagree or I disagree or agree with that. But basically what I'm saying is having a good solid friend group that you can grind with, share each other tips, VOD review each other, get better together, practice together is so important. Not only will they motivate you to get better, but if these people are just as good as you or even hopefully better than you, the more you fight them, the more you're going to become a better player. Because if you're losing every single fight, you can start analyzing what you're doing wrong. What are they doing that's allowing them to kill you? Is their mechanics better? Do they do a specific edit? Like, what do they do that keeps killing them? As well as, like I said, the huge thing is just having a motivation of other players. Like, back when I was grinding competitive, I had 4 buddies who literally grinded with me. We were in a Snapchat group chat. We always played together on Discord, whether it was arena solo, trios, squads, duos, or whatever. We'd always talk with each other, and it just motivated so much more to actually play with friends, especially those who grind as hard as you do. So if you're looking to get better, trust me, finding a good group of people to grind with is so important. If you don't have one, you can find people through Twitter, like looking for friend groups, or through Discords, like whatever it is. Just trust me, try and find a friend group if you can who's good, as good as you, or just better. So now my next tip, and this is kind of a small one, but it's kind of relative to my first tip, and it's make sure your focus on the ability to win fights more so than just being able to play the game or like play scrims, right? So many people like back in like season 7, season 8 would ask Booga or players like, or not Booga, but like a bunch of pro players, or even when Booga won the World Cup, they asked him, "Oh, how did you get so good?" And they're like, "Well, I've played scrims for 7 hours a day, right? I play pro scrims for 7 hours a day." Now, don't get me wrong, playing pro scrims are super, super good. And if you're in a tier 1 scrim, like you can play against all the top players and there's no zone rules, nothing like that, 100% do that and just play to the best of your ability, practicing fighting as much as possible against other pro players, guaranteed to make you better. But the players who are just think like, oh, well, if I go into an open scrim Discord and I play 8 hours a day in zone rule customs, I'm going to become the best player in the world. When in reality, that's not at all how it works, right? If you're playing an open customs, yes, sure, you'll maybe fight off spawn, maybe not, but you're not practicing how to rotate properly. You're not practicing when to rotate, where to box up, because there's no fighting. And then the end games are unrealistic with 40 people. Everyone has max mats, everyone has really good weapons because they upgrade them, everyone has launch pads, etc. like that, right? So it's super, super important that, yes, playing scrims are important, but in my opinion, it's only really important if you're actually playing the ones where there's no zone rules, they're pretty decent players, and you're actually playing aggressive. So what I said in the first part is make sure you're focused on your ability to win fights. In my opinion, and I've always said that, is W key in an arena or working on your mechanics, in my opinion, is a little bit more important than scrims. Don't get me wrong, playing scrims is, like I said, really good. And if you want to play 2 or 3 open zone rule scrims, it's not going to hurt your end game, right? It's not going to make you a worse player. It's going to help you realize what you're doing wrong for your rotates or what other people are doing that you're not doing, etc. But in my opinion, focusing on just being able to win fights or improving your mechanics is a little bit more important, unless you're playing those closed zone or closed games where basically you just drop in a custom code and you can fight mid game, early game, end game, whatever the case is. So now my next tip, and this one is also pretty relative to the first one, but it's different, and it's basically finding your weaknesses and working on that. So like I said at the first tip, is you have to be working at all areas of the game, but I don't care who you are, there's one or two things that almost everyone has that is their biggest weakness. So for example, for me, when I first started grinding competitive, I realized that the biggest thing for me was my aim and my IQ. Like I would make dumb bonehead plays on moving zones, or even just end zone, or I would take dumb fights or dumb 50-50 fights, as well as my aim wasn't that good. Like I find my aim was just lacking compared to a lot of pro players I watch or a lot of players I watch, because I just switched over from controller, right? So what I really focused on was grinding VOD review notes. I watched like an hour of VOD review of pros as well as myself every single day for like literally 2 months. I grinded Kovacs, like I put over 300 hours in, and now, in my opinion at least, I'd say my aim is probably the best part of my game, as well as my end game rotations. My fighting IQ is still a little bit questionable sometimes here or there, but it's definitely gone better from where it was. But trust me, if you actually analyze your game or ask your buddies, like if you do end up finding a friend group and you just say, hey guys, like what do you think in your opinion is the worst part of my game? Like, do you think I have bad aim? Do you think I make bad edits? Do I panic? Like what makes me a bad player, like, or what's keeping me back from becoming a better player, right? Or you don't even need friends. Like I said, if they can definitely help you out, but if you can analyze your own gameplay enough and realize, okay, look, I really need to work on my editing, I always choke my edits, well then go practice your edits. Like don't just keep, if you, let's say for example for me, if my best part of my game is my aim, I'm not going to stop aim training. Like that would be dumb, but I'm going to put a little bit more time. Instead of aim training for an hour, I'm going to do 30 minutes and then put 30 more minutes into my editing or my VOD reviews or whatever I struggle with, right? Because if you're not working on your weaknesses, you're not really improving. So now my last tip, and this is also a super important one to get better and make sure you're actually using your time properly, is make sure that you're actually doing quality practice and you're not just in the moment. Like I know so many people, and again, this includes myself so much, where basically I just hop in, I'd play some creative for 30 minutes, play Kovacs for 10 minutes, and then I'd play arena for 2 hours, and then scrims for 2 hours and get off, right? And then when I look back at it, I'm like, I didn't learn one thing. I was going through the motions. I was playing Kovacs, wasn't really paying attention. I'd be focusing on the call with my buddy, like I wouldn't really be focusing on creative, like I wouldn't be practicing new things, I wouldn't be making sure my edits were smooth, my shots were hitting. For rotating, I wasn't really like paying attention, I was just kind of going through the motions, right? Which you can't be doing. If you really want to improve, you can't be going through the motions. You actually have to be focused paying attention to what you're doing wrong, what you're doing right, and always be trying to improve. If you're just happy where you are and you're just not really putting in the time to actually analyze what you're doing in the situation, you're never going to become a better player. So hope you guys enjoyed my video. If you did, make sure you slap a like button on it. Comment what you want to see for a future video. Hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one, guys. Peace.